And finally, we will project a well-loved and well-liked and much admired segment of the Capital Forum. This is Chit Chat with Manoj. The host here is Mr. Manoj Singh, the CEO of Caesar Productions. A few months ago, Mr. Singh featured a segment on interracial marriages, Part 1. Today, he proposes to carry on with interracial marriages, Part 2. Mr. Singh's guest here is Mrs. Cassy, Gallagheri.
Welcome to Chit Chat with Manoj. I'm Manoj Singh. Hello, Adab, Namaste. Today we are going to talk about interracial marriage. This is part 2. I had already done part 1 in which I had interviewed an husband, and today we are interviewing Cassy, a wife. And so in a traditional Indian marriage, we all know that people talk about that's not just the marriage of a boy and a girl, but it's also marriage of two families. So what they look for is similar status, caste, religion. They try to see that basically they're trying to reduce the risks of marriage, failure of a marriage. The more similar they are, the chances are that the marriage would be successful. Now, as we all know, more and more, even in India and big cities, love marriages are happening. People, at least the boy and the girl, meet for a few weeks and then decide whether they want to get married or not. Now, this is not an issue for second generation South Asians because they are more ingrained in a Western society here in US. So for them, a lot of these barriers or dissimilarities are not an issue. They feel like they are the same. So the first question, well, first of all, thank you, Cassy.
Thank you for having me.
And Cassy is a physical therapist. She's married to an American, and he's an architect. So my first question to you is, you have an interracial marriage. What is your perspective and any challenges?
First of all, I would thank you for inviting me here. I think interracial marriages nowadays are very, very common, though not as common as it would be if as you said, the first generation. But yeah, more so in the metropolitan areas, they're more common here as opposed to, in places like Indiana, Michigan, those states where, they're more conservative. Challenges, I think every marriage is a challenge. Every marriage is not a bed of roses. I feel there is love, there is affection. At the same time, there is certain compromises that you need to make.
Correct.
It's not something that, and I'm not trying to say that I'm unhappy or I'm very happy. I'm really very happy with my marriage, but at the same time, both the partners have to be one to make the marriage work.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
that's very, very important. They have to be compatible. That's the most important word. Because it's not only about, because we are Indians, it's not only about how we are going to make this marriage work. If the other person, no matter which caste, color, creed that person comes from, if he or she's not making the marriage work, then the other person can't. You understand?
And I agree, that's totally transparent to race, religion, or caste. Even my
Yes.
own marriage, we are constantly communicating with each other, talking about our issues, and it's give and take and
Yes.
compromise and all of the adjectives you used. I mean, I think that's a given for every marriage.
Yes.
Are there times when you, like for example, when you miss that, oh, let's today evening just watch a Hindi movie and eat Indian food and sing Indian song, but then you become conscious, oh, my partner, I have to think about him too. Maybe not, maybe let's see how we can adjust this or how we can come to a happy conclusion.
Now see, in terms of that, I want to say one thing, I'm very, very lucky. I'll tell you why. My husband is American, but he's second generation Irish. So the first thing that happens when I come home is I hear Hindi music playing. He's the one playing the Hindi music. Okay, and this happened because we were married in India. So his family flew out to India to, for the marriage and all that. And on the flight, there was only Indian movies playing. So he had no choice. Anyways, the first movie he watched was, I think, Rishi Kapoor and Padmini Kolhapuri's movie. It was an old movie. He watched it. He loved it. So from then on, I think his affection towards Hindi movies, because of the innocence that Hindi movies at that time had, he just loved that, you know. Now, Indian movies have lost that innocence now. If you actually compare, that love and that affection, it's very pure if you watch the Hindi movies back then. Anyway, so he loved it and he liked the songs and all that. So the first thing he does when he goes on YouTube, he picks a Hindi song and he plays it. So he loves it. So in that terms, I'm lucky. We both have that same common.
Yeah, I have two common friends and quite similar experience. They come to my house. The husbands love Indian food. They know the Indian culture. In fact, one of them, they get a chef comes to cook for them, and then if he doesn't get Indian food for a week or so when they're traveling, he misses it. And I think it's becoming more popular. Cool. Indian films, Indian music.
Food,
So, because more and more the minority population is increasing in here in
That's
US, not only just Indian.
I would also want to say, because you asked for some challenges too, about the food. My husband loves Indian food, but I have to tone it down for him. You know what I mean? Yeah. But see, now again, there is a compromise. You like something, I like something, but we have to meet in the middle. That kind of a thing. So I sit with my food, but I have to have a chili in my hand. So I'm adding that spice to it.
That's
nice.
So
that works out.
Yeah, or a pickle
or a pickle or something.
Right. So let's talk about this interesting topic. Are there times when there are awkward or funny situation, strange looks, or you like to share? Like, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
My brother-in-law is married an American. They were in Jamaica in immigration.
Okay.
And the whole family went, even the brothers, sisters. So the immigration guy tells him his wife is a British, and both the children look more British than Indian.
Okay.
So he tells them, "Hey, come here. You go with your family, stand there, let me talk to these." So he said, "No, they're my wife and children."
Yeah.
Or another example was he gave me was, that similar situation. It was I think in Israel, where he said, no, in India, actually. He was in Janpat. And these, how these vendors come and start bugging you that, can you please buy this, for X amount. Right. And my brother-in-law said, "Listen, I don't want," in Hindi, nahi chahiye hame, nahi chahiye. So the guy says, "Hey, why are you killing my business? You move apart."
let me sell it.
The lady, and he said, "Hey, whatever it is, I have to pay.
Right,
She's not paying."
That's funny.
Something like that.
Well, I know that whenever we go out, people do stare. There's a lot of curiosity to understand what kind of relationship we share. But this particular incident happened when we were in Goa. We got married in Goa. I'm Goan, so when we were flying out back from the airport, there is tight security. I don't know for what reason, but anyways, there is tight security. They were only letting one person pass at a time, and they stopped my husband. And so I stopped. I passed before him, and I stopped. And they asked him some questions, and he wasn't able to answer. So I was answering for him. And they said, no, you can go ahead. So I said, no, I'm his wife. So the funny part that happened there was they actually laughed. They looked at him, because I think this is the mentality they have about Westerners. And they said, "Oh, how many wives do you have in which country? Tell us." And I was shocked for a second. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then I just took him and we left. But that was the only thing that happened back in India. Yeah. So here in the US, I don't think we have had any questions asked. So.
Do you have any children?
No, okay. Not yet.
I mean, planning to. So any identity crisis, or you guys talk about when we have kids, then maybe they should follow more of this religion, or what their name should be, a combination of both, or just a given name by husband's family. Any discussion on that?
We haven't decided on names as yet, and my name is actually an English name. Also, the good thing about my and my husband's relationship here is I'm a Catholic, and my husband is Catholic too. We had to keep that main thing. I was looking for that. So it didn't matter to me whether I would marry an Indian who is Catholic, whether it was an African American or a Spanish man. I didn't really care. At that point, I just wanted to know that this person is the same religion as I am. And that's how I met my husband. So keeping that in mind, our names will definitely be Christian names.
Nowadays, most people I've seen is that they keep either mother's name as a middle name and father's name as a last name, family name. And of course, in all these marriages which are successful, they come up with a compromise. And in both my friends' cases, religion is not a big of an issue. I mean, if it happens to be that you have to go to Mandir for some event, they do. And there's not a big discussion or anything about it, and a lot of compromise, and I think love and happiness and marriage comes first, then all these things.
Right.
So what does your husband or family thinks about this marriage, and how they taking it, and their perspective?
At first, they were a little shaky about it. They were like, why are you marrying a person who is not Indian? Why what if, this thing doesn't work out and stuff like that. But when they met him and they found out how he was, they were okay with it. Now with his family, they are the most wonderful people I've met. And he has 4 siblings, and all of them are married to different country people. So his one brother is married to a Thai woman, the other one is marrying a Spanish woman, one of the sisters is married to a Peruvian guy.
Wow.
So, and he's married to me, so it's like an international family kind of a thing.
Yes,
so,
yes.
so it worked out pretty well.
I think you're a family of the future. So this is a very good follow-up question then. Does education or travel got to do with an open mind, is much more chances of a successful interracial marriage? Any correlation you feel like?
I would say strongly there is a correlation in that. I came to this country in 2009, and back then I came here with a work visa. So at that time I wasn't even thinking of getting married, So marriage, traveling, yes, definitely makes a difference. And when I moved here and then when I met my husband, things changed for me. So yes, if that's a yes to your question. It definitely makes a huge difference. Your education, your background, people you meet, the places you work, it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we're coming to an end. So any last minute advice to interracial marriage couples for a successful marriage?
Yes, the most important word here is compromise, not from one person, but both. It has to be from both ends. Both people need to understand each other's feelings, what they like, what they don't like, do stuff for each other, try to learn other people's cultures, and that should help.
Good advice. Thank you, Cassy, again for coming on the show. I like to read a quote, and since I really liked it, unknown writer. If what you see by the eye does not please you, then close your eyes and see from the heart, because the heart can see the beauty and love more than the eyes can ever wonder. Beautifully said. Thank you very much. Goodbye. All the best. And like I say, life is short. Have fun. No regrets.